A new USL Championship season is upon us as we get things started from a cold and snowy Loudoun County. The ink is still drying on Ted Cudipietro's homegrown signing with DC United, while Elliot Panico, one of the top goalkeepers in the USL, joins on in the new era for Indy 11. We kick off a new USL Championship season next. So here we go. It is cold. There was snow in the area earlier today. The fans are bundled up with some beverages as we get set to go. It's Loudoun United hosting Indy 11 from Segra Field. With Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for joining us. These players ready to get out there to kick off this USL Championship season as we look at what is to come over these next few months. 27 teams in 2 conferences, 14 in the East, 13 out West. Every team will play home and away, and then we'll get some cross-division or cross-conference games. Then the top 7 teams in each conference earn a spot to the playoffs. The number 1 seed earns the bye to the conference semifinals, kind of like the new MLS playoff format. It should be an exciting season across the league. But for this Loudoun United team, we see some of these names on the list, and you'll start to see them at different levels throughout the years.
If you just take a look on paper at the scouting report for Loudoun United, they've only garnered 60 points since their inception in 2019. There are plenty of teams around this league who have done that and more in a single season, but there is a bigger picture here, Josh. It's the tutelage of Ryan Martin pushing them to the next level of their parent club, DC United. Nyman, Paradis, Garay, Cudipietro, all have starred with this club before, all have great futures ahead of them, both domestically and internationally. All this is the next step for these young men and an opportunity to go showcase themselves and get picked up by DC United.
And for Indy 11, a new man in charge after 3 years with El Paso. It's Mark Lowry on the sideline.
New players, new look, new system. It's going to be a new feel. And for Mark Lowry to do this on the road in this type of weather, it's symbolic, right? He's got to go face a really tough test against a young team, but understand they're going to have a lot of the ball. He's brought a couple of players with him, and Brian Rebellon and Michak Jerome, great distributors, both off the back line from Jerome and Rebellon. Jonas Feldberg, a fun one to watch. FC Cincinnati draft pick on loan, was a beautiful addition to that front line last year with 8 appearances, 3 goals, and 2 assists. Noah Powder, champion 2019 Real Monarchs on the outside. The great thing about this new look Indy 11 with their key additions is they're versatile. You'll see guys moving all over the pitch as they move back to front.
Everybody's all bundled up from Leesburg and Segra Field. Lineups in first kick. Coming up next, it's Loudoun United and Indy 11.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
Well, that is what these teams are chasing, what Orange County was able to raise at the end of last year in Tampa. As we get set for Loudoun and Indy 11, it's time to take a look at tonight's starting lineups. We will start with Loudoun United and Ryan Martin's first 11 of the season.
I already talked about the movement for Indy 11, but keep a keen eye here for Loudoun United because Jacob Green, Grant Lillard, Hayden Sargis, Sammy Gadiri, all left-footed boys that can strike this ball all over the field. You would imagine that they're going to follow suit as DC United does. 3 in the back, 4 across the middle, 3 up top. Gamble can drop down into the pocket. Kimarni Smith really good with his speed at stretching this game. But the playmaker is going to be Cudi Pietro in the midfield with Nicky Downs underneath. That pairing right there as they push forward. This line from Indy 11 is going to push very high. A lot of pressure put in the midfield. A lot of possession for the visitors. But can they do it in the final third? That's going to be the key question. They also will have a lot of rotation. Noah Powder can play outside marking back. Hackshaw will push the tempo on the left. Pino and McQueen, that's an interesting pairing if that's what it turns out to be. The midfield 3 of Ingram, Nicky Law, and Rebellon can change shape as well. Eris Briggs, a fun one to watch. Good player out of Georgia State, comes over from Real Monarchs. 3 goals and 2 assists last season.
We already see the ball moving. It is 25 degrees. It feels like 9 degrees. Wind gusts in the mid 20 miles per hour. It is going to be an interesting start to this one. Fans have been put in just 3 sections in the stands because you can see all of the snow that fell earlier today. So this should be an interesting one to kick off the USL Championship season. John Mato is our referee. So we might need somebody to hold the ball in place as we get this thing started. There is the whistle, and we are underway in this 2022 USL Championship season. It is Loudoun in red and Indy in white. So here we go. It's a new era for Indy 11 with Mark Lowry at the helm after 3 seasons and all he was able to do with El Paso Locomotive. He wanted a new challenge, so he comes to Indy 11, what he calls a very good club, a proud club, and already a chance here for Indy coming forward. This will be a touch for Luis Zamudio, new in goal for Loudoun United this year. But as we look at this Indy 11 side, 8 starters of the 11, of course, making their Indy 11 debut, and that's already the mark that, no pun intended, Mark Lowry is putting on this team in 2022. As for this Loudoun team, of course, it was a tough season last year. 4-25-3, last place in the entire league. They ended on a 6-game losing streak. They really just couldn't get things going. But one of those few wins was against this Indy 11 team on this field. They won that game by a score of 4-1. Ted Cudi Pietro did score in that game. So maybe something to hang their hat on coming into this game against Indy 11, where the conditions and the factors will no doubt play a factor in this one. A chance coming early on for Indy 11 and just couldn't get full contact on that was Justin Ingram. It's a save early for Luis Zamudio. Tonight's keys to the game are brought to you by Country Buick GMC of Leesburg. What do you got?
We're actually going to start with the visitors because you just saw a good example of it. Mark Lowry talked at length about the high line that he would like his team to play. Possession not as important overall in the grand scheme of things as his career has progressed, but he wants his team to make sure when they do have it, they're very high so that Loudoun United have to battle out of the back. It's going to come down to pace, though, for Ryan Martin and his youngsters. Quick transitions back to front, find Gamble, Kimarni Smith, all these guys transitionally. And if you are going to give it up, make sure you're doing it high up the field so that Indy 11 has to do the same amount of work that you just exhibited on the other end.
We talked about the amount of newcomers for Indy with 8. There are 6 players in this Loudoun United 11 that make their debut today. Touches in the middle as Hackshaw moves it out to that far left side. Indy can play it down the line. It's Eris Briggs, a Memphis, Tennessee native. Quite a few players coming over from Real Monarchs. It was Briggs who went to ground, but play continues on here through the middle. There'll be a foul on the far side. I'll set up a free kick for Loudoun. I'm talking with Ryan Martin this week. He said preseason started in mid-January, had a decent amount of players between DC United preseason along with their own preseason, but they were able to play a few games against the Richmond Kickers, against the Riverhounds, against the University of Virginia. He said, whoever's with us, that's who we're going to prepare. And it was actually interesting hearing from him and saying with so many players coming in and out that they want to almost equate it to a national team camp and say when you're with us, and hopefully when you leave, you can say you enjoyed your time.
Have fun too, right?
Yeah.
That was the most important thing too. And I've been in those situations, those camps that he talks about where you walk in and sometimes it's like seeing old friends, and other times you're kind of looking around going, wow, I don't know a single player. So you want to make sure you have fun, that the system that you've been acclimatized to is very much a wash, rinse, repeat type deal. And I'll give Ryan Martin and Loudoun United a lot of credit for what they've done over the past couple of years, because they come in 19, they had an identity. A lot was shaken up with DC United, and that funneled down through the system, right, into Loudoun United. So he's had to navigate a lot of issues on the negative side, but they've turned it positive. They have found results. They've obviously gotten the homegrowns that we've shown you. And if you ask any single coach in the Eastern Conference what it's like to play this team, they're upset, they're frustrated, it's annoying, it's very difficult because the pressure is constant and tempo is very high.
Mark Lowry said this is maybe one of the toughest teams to play opening weekend just because they're all energized and ready to go coming out of preseason, want to actually play a game. And also they still have something to look up to, potentially a spot with DC United and MLS. So these players trying to make a mark here early in the season. And some space to work on the far side. That's Jacob Green, able to get the cross away through a couple of deflections. And this one cleared out of play, a throw-in on the far side. Able to work through the middle here, trying to break the lines.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, he sat down.
Here's Grant Lillard. Has not played a league game, Grant Lillard, in some 2 years. His last appearances coming with Lansing Ignite in the USL League One, along with the Chicago Fire he spent some time with. So he's finally getting back on the field, and a good, what did Ryan Martin say? A nice 6'4", left-footed center back. Yeah. I was like, wait, where have I seen one of those before?
I know, he's sitting 6 feet from you. The difference is I got a little bit more miles on the odometer than Grant Lillard does, right?
Okay, yes.
How crazy is that, though? Someone that came out of Indiana with such high praise. I mean, that's an All-American, right? That becomes a Chicago Fire homegrown. You talked about his last appearance league-wise was in 2019. He's only played 9 minutes total at the professional level since 2019. It was the Columbus Crew CONCACAF Champions League. He came in as a substitute in the 81st minute. That's difficult as a player, and it's really difficult as a center back because you're bouncing teams, you're trying to gain confidence as well, all of these moving pieces, and you're not getting the repetitions to stay up to task with everybody else.
So we'll see how he settles in. And of course, plenty of new faces on both sides as Lillard is there to clean it up and play it all the way back for Luis Zamudio. He spent last year with Fort Lauderdale in the Inter Miami setup, along with North Texas in the FC Dallas setup, getting 15 total starts in USL League One. There's a nice rotation of goalkeepers. Joe Rice actually missing out tonight due to a red card he picked up with New England Revolution 2 at the end of last year. Trey Muse announced on loan at Memphis. And it's Luis Zamudio who has a chance to impress in goal here week one. Hackshaw trying for the long throw-in and couldn't get much power on that. Deflects all the way back for AJ Cochran. A good skill in the middle by Hackshaw. Poise on the ball. McQueen plays it down the line. Rebellon now. Some space to work down this near side. It's Alex McQueen. Bouncing that cross in, it was dealt with in the middle. Sammy Gadiri now. And Grant Lillard. Long over the top and hanging up in that wind. Marty Smith gets a touch in, but taking too much of the leg out of Brian Rebellon. Be a free kick. Marty Smith coming off a season last year in which he made 17 appearances, scored 1 goal. I always felt like he could get on the score sheet maybe just a little bit more. He found himself in good attacking positions. Just that 1 goal, though. At least he gets the monkey off his back, though, to get that first pro goal. We'll be looking for more here in 2022.
Keep an eye on that right there. We already saw the 1 giveaway by Hayden Sargis, youngster coming over from Sacramento Republic. DC United, of course, picks up the 19-year-old, and he situates himself right in the middle. He's got Grant Lillard, even though he is a seasoned pro. We talked about his lack of experience overall professionally. And Rio Hopkins, still a young upstart, national champion out of Georgetown that didn't really see any game time whatsoever at Orlando City. And the 3 of them, 2 left footers. Hayden Sargis isn't exactly known for his right. He can ping it with the best of them on his left foot. 40-yard balls sprayed left and right. But if he gets into those situations where Indy 11 is pressing high, that's even more so needed for the support coming through the middle that we talked about with Nicky Downs and Kuda Pietro.
Are you surprised to see him in the middle of that 3?
I am, yeah. With his age, you know, the lack of overall appearances for him. 18 last year for Mark Briggs' squad, that's not bad, but, you know, for a guy that's primarily been used in situations of necessity and opportunity as opposed to a regular starter, this is a lot of pressure on him, and he's got to step up to it immediately. Ryan Martin's got a lot of options for himself throughout training during the week. The fact that he's called his number right here, that gives you an idea of how much DC United feel about him as well. They want regular minutes for him to continue to push that confidence, because it's not an easy one, right? You're looking at a true left footer, wasn't asked to use his right a lot, and it's not that it's bad, it's just not part of his repertoire in the past, right? And now all of a sudden you're in a 3 as well. He's used to a 4-back style system.
Yeah. And Ryan Martin, we asked him how the system would work, whether it would be similar to what we see with DC United, he said we'd probably set up in that same 3-4-3 formation, but as he put it, he thinks as a formation more as spaces on the field, not necessarily you are left wing back, you are center midfielder. There's a little bit of fluidity within it.
Especially for some of these young men, gives you a good starting point. And then from there, you can start to explore the depths of what you want this to look like come final third. You know, Kuda Pietro is one of those players that's really good at that. He'll rotate out to the outside, challenge guys down into the corner, but really good in the pocket as well. Back to goal, spraying it left and right. Ryan Martin wants to make sure that just because your starting point is here, we all know where the finish point is. Now, what can you do when there's space there? And if there's no space, which is gonna happen against Indy 11, how do you create your own and get out of your comfort zone from those starting positions that we talked about?
Here's Kuda Pietro, led the team last year with 7 goals and 3 assists. Signed that homegrown deal with DC United back in January. Well deserved for the youngster. Here's Sammy Gadiri trying to shape this cross in. And all the way to the back stick it went, and it was Azad Liadi crashing in. Couldn't test Elliot Panico.
Magnificent rotation. Watch how quickly the ball comes right to left here, right through the middle, and as you get outside, there's the space that we talk about. One-on-one, you don't have to force the issue. If they're willing to give you that opportunity and no one's gonna step in, you got a runner on the back post, stick it in there, let Liadi run onto it. Unfortunate they don't finish it off, but beautiful movement from Loudoun United.
With no games across the championship kicking off for about 40 or so minutes, a big chance the first goal of the season is scored in this game if it comes in the first half, so we shall see. Another cross coming in. Gadiri was up there battling for it. A foul right there in the middle. It'll be a free kick. Briggs coming back, and he was clipped.
Notice where that Chance ends up, by the way, Josh, on that back post run. Whipped all the way back through. Noah Powder, your outside marking back tonight. The interesting change for me is the fact that Mark Lowry has taken Neviel Hackshaw. The three-back system that has been Indy 11 over the past couple of seasons always saw Hackshaw on the left side of that three. Instead, you've moved him into the 6, down underneath that very familiar diamond at this point in time. Nicky Law, Rebillon, respectfully, left and right. Justin Ingram running the point. Hackshaw, though, not unaccustomed to that spot. He played a ton of the holding midfielder spot for the Charleston Battery a couple of years back before he made this move. And so with Noah Powder coming to there, we've talked systems, right? Real Salt Lake, they've gone through a lot of different looks over the past couple of years. Three-back system, 4-2-3-1. Noah Powder comes in. It's not unfamiliar territory, but he's another guy who hasn't seen a lot of the field on a regular basis in a restricted role like that. The marking back spot, very different in a four-back style system, especially with those late runs when Noah Powder likes to play the high line.
And now it's a corner kick for Indy 11, first of the game for either side. A game where the weather conditions could play a factor with the wind, surface being very, very cold. Set pieces could be an interesting part of this. Nicky Law will curl this in, header towards the near post, bouncing through, and Sammy Gadiri gets it out of play. And the wind will keep it in play along that far side, and back for Jerome. Try to float this through the wind, off the chest of Briggs. Rebillon. Hackshaw gonna win it back. It's a throw-in going Loudoun's way. 15 minutes gone in this opener. Now long over the top. Arnie Smith couldn't win the second ball, down sliding in. Just puts it out for another throw-in. This is what you'll see with Indy 11 and Mark Lowry. A lot of time on the ball. El Paso the last few years, always leading the league in number of passes. It's no surprise to see that from Indy 11, although there's no doubt it'll take some time for this group to kind of get accustomed to what Mark Lowry wants to see out there as a finished product.
To your point, since 2019, El Paso Locomotive carried 55.33% possession throughout all of their matches. That was good for third. Number one, no surprise, Lou City. So you're in real good company there. Of course, the Western Conference finalists 2 seasons running for El Paso Locomotive. That style will come here, but I do go back to one of my initial talking points at the beginning of the game and what I really took away from Mark Lowry asking his style. You know, what does it look like, the change from El Paso to Indy? What does it look like as your career has gone on? And he said, stylistically, the aesthetics have changed. I don't really care all the time if it looks that great for 90 minutes, but I want to make sure that we play a high line, and when we're there, we've got a lot of the ball, and it looks good in the final third. That's very different, even from his time in El Paso at the beginning. He admitted that. He said he always wanted the ball, as many passes as possible, a lot of possession, but found that they weren't really finding what they wanted to come go time. If you look at his teams the past year, year and a half in the Western Conference, those were teams transitioned much quicker, even with some of the guys that had a little bit older age on them, and they'd become much better being clinical when they were in front of goal. That's what you're going to see more out of Indy 11 here, because he's got a good mixture of speed, youth, age, kind of all of it blended together. Just going to take a little bit of time to put it all at once.
He said what he wanted to see out of this game was control and game management. So going up against this Loudoun United side, you didn't really know what you were going to get. There's a touch for Elliot Panico. Here's McQueen. Pino couldn't keep that within his grasp. Rebellon, again McQueen, curls this in. Zamudio has to punch it away. Rebellon heads it back centrally. And Loudoun having trouble clearing this. Eventually they do. Zadliati doing some hard running up top. Liati, who did get in that opener for DC United against Charlotte FC, played about 9 minutes in that game. His MLS debut. Pietro, and right into Hackshaw. Is this going to be the game's first yellow card? It will. Hackshaw into the book. And it was 31 Trinidad and Tobago caps, the first yellow card of this season.
Love this kid. For good reason. We share the same birthday, by the way. Of course, different years, but just look at the explosion of speed. Little touch to the inside, body fake, draws Hackshaw out, creates all the space behind him, and then you go. Pushes himself to another level. And you've got, if he gets through there, Josh, he's got 15 yards separation between the holding midfielder spot and the center back. That then brings the back line higher, allows more space in behind for guys like Gadiri or Kamarni Smith to run into.
Professional foul taken there in the middle by the veteran.
Had to get that birthday shout in, you know?
Of course.
Actually found quite a few gentlemen going through the opening weekend's books, and I was prepping more than one team, of course, and looking forward a couple of weeks. 3 different players.
Who else?
Well, I'm not going to tell you now.
Oh.
No, we're going to save that for the next broadcast.
Oh, okay.
I can't give away all the content, Josh.
Is that a hint? That's also a tease. Tune in later.
That's what the kids call it.
A full slate of games. Then, of course, Tampa Bay Rowdies taking on Birmingham Legion tomorrow. The national game on ESPN2. Gamble working in tight spaces. Justin Ingram. Pietro feeling some pressure here on this near side. 2 white jerseys around him. He's able to keep that ball in play all the way to the end line. Now it's Gadiri. Sammy Gadiri's dispossessed. Pietro able to keep this in and trying to go right through the legs of Nicky Law. A lot of energy here early from Loudoun. Gadiri curls it in. Couldn't get it by AJ Cochran. Lillard stepping up. A teammate there to help him is Downs. Sargis driving this through the middle. That'll eventually roll out for a goal kick. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official matchball supplier of the USL Championship. Choose what you play with at www.selectsportamerica.com. Select League's choice, player's choice. Ryan Martin wants this a few yards farther back than where it is. But they'll continue play on here. It's Pino. Headed forward, still bouncing through, and now looks like the flag is up for offside. It's always interesting with so many new faces on both sides, how long it'll take for these groups to gel, especially for a team like Loudoun, where it's a very young team. A little bit more experience for Indy 11. Mark Lowry very animated in his technical area as well. Ball never went out of play, and now it does. It'll be a goal kick for Loudoun. That's the midway point of this first half. Looking for options here, Luis Zamudio. Looks like he'll try to send this deep if he can get the ball to stop. Hackshaw able to get up for that aerially. And now room for McQueen. Plays this ahead, it's Ingram. Looking to center that ball, and it just ends up in the snow. It'll be a corner kick. Here's Nicky Law to take another Indy 11 corner kick. Law curls it into a good area. And again, the defensive clearance. Law coming up again. He'll get it right back. Slide it along for Rebellon. Tries to keep his balance, and this will go out for another throw-in. McQueen. Get it right back from Briggs. Jerome sends it in, bouncing through. Going down, the referee says play on. Immediately wave that away. Here's Azad Liadi.
A really good job by both of these squads right now of clogging the middle, making it very difficult to find any sort of link-up play. A lot of long balls pushing back through. Also helps reset the different levels here. Pinned back deep, Loudoun United for the past couple of minutes. Just a long ball over the top to allow them to step up a bit higher. And Mark Lowry's got a pretty good shout just moments prior on the far side of the field, the right arm coming back through, asking for a penalty. Not a lot of lobbying after the fact, though, right? Quick little shout, and then everybody back to business.
There's Downs and Cuda Pietro holding things down in the middle tonight for Loudoun. It's an Indy 11 team, though, without last year's leading scorer in Manuel Arteaga with 10 goals, and Ayoze, who led the team with 5 assists. They both miss out tonight. Ayoze, whenever he gets on the field next, it'll be his 100th regular season appearance. So 2 big pieces for Mark Lowry this season that do miss out tonight, but should play big parts as this season moves along. Here's Gamble finding space. Tried to slide that ahead. Azad Liadi making the run. Challenge in the middle, and it's Nicky Law who is whistled for the foul. Referee content to let play go on quickly as Cochran clears it out. And Lillard plays it all the way back. An Indy team that hasn't made the USL playoffs since 2019, when they lost to Lou City in the conference final. And were 12 points out of the playoffs last year, had just one win in their final 12 games. It was a real tough end of the season for Loudoun, or pardon me, for Indy, and for Loudoun, I guess you could say. This Indy team, under new management, looking to get things back on track. As Gadiri comes forward, this coming in, and quickly cleared away, but still pressure there.
It's beautiful composure by Neville Hackshaw and Michak Jerome, though, that has now allowed them to continue going the other direction. Hackshaw really deep, just a tiny touch to the full Haitian international. There's a much better sequence before, though, between Kudu Pietro, Nicky Downs, Michael Gamble. They've had a bit of trouble, all three lining up so far. Kudu Pietro being allowed to explore as they move forward. That's not surprising, but what has been very difficult is when Gamble starts to drop down in, the link up between he and Nicky Downs. There's a good look, the 10 and the 15. As Kudu Pietro comes to the near touchline, comes out. It takes one body out, trying to pull people with him, open up some space. Just haven't been able to successfully step right into it outside of the last movement coming forward.
You can hear in the background a good crew from the Brickyard Battalion in Indy making the trip here to cold Leesburg, Virginia. Although it did snow yesterday in Indianapolis as well. Long distribution by Zamudio. Half hour gone here from Segra Field with Devin Kerr. I'm Josh Eastern. The curtain raiser in the USL Championship here in 2022. Here's Lillard and Gadiri. A touch for Ted Kudu Pietro.
You watch defensively. You mentioned the avenues. Blocks centrally. Eris Briggs sliding a little bit to that left-hand side more often than not. Number 29 right there, Pino coming down in, almost creating a flat box next to Justin Ingram. And there's already two in there with Nicky Law and Rebillon. Flattening out the midfield at times as Hackshaw comes high. It goes 3-2, it's 2-2-1. No matter what, there's predominantly 5 bodies you're trying to work through if you're wearing a red jersey. That much more difficult. And you're seeing them come to the exterior, but it's not being done quick enough. And that's not a knock on Loudoun United. Really good shape being presented on the other side of the ball for Mark Lowry and Indy 11. But with the temperatures, the elements themselves, it's not a fun one to play in, let alone the fact, first game of the year, trying to figure everybody out, and everything that we've heard from all of these coaches that we haven't addressed yet, Josh, is the lack of time that they've had with a lot of these players. A lot of these guys have come in late, been very difficult to build up any sort of chemistry, and you're really seeing that right now in the opening 32 minutes.
Here's Rebillon. Now McQueen curling this in. Zamudio got a fist to it. Zamudio's been forced into a few. Ingram on the turn. He was cut off as Gamble swoops in. It's Kamarni Smith who is tripped. I think Nicky Law hoping he doesn't pick up a yellow card. He will not. Free kick back to Loudoun United. Gadiri for Kudu Pietro. Space to work for Gadiri. He's been lively in this first half. Loudoun not afraid to keep the ball when they have a chance. Sargis. Gamble looking for space and finds it with Jacob Green. Lillard looking upfield, now finds Gadiri. Pietro will curl this one in. A couple of bounces into the waiting arms of Elliot Panico.
How difficult is this defensively for Indy 11 to watch someone like Pietro, even at such a young age? Notice the spatial awareness. Coming out of the middle, starts to drift towards the near touchline, and then just like that, drop the left shoulder, allow it to come across your body. It's this gray area. If you're McQueen, Jerome Hackshaw, nobody's sure who's supposed to step into that space because they're all occupying it at the same point in time and at separate times, and yet they still allow him to get a ball off.
There's Kamarni Smith. Defended by A.J. Cochran. Noah Powder coming over. Smith gets himself back on side. It was a heavy touch. And now it's put out of play. A corner kick coming. First of the match for Loudoun. Impressive first 35 minutes from Loudoun United.
They've definitely been the aggressor for the most part, right? Had the brunt of the possession.
As we were talking about the other day, though, it's putting a full game together. That's kind of been their issue over the last few years.
70, 75 minutes really has been the key points for them. And the oddest thing about it is it's not always 70 or 75 straight. They've stumbled out of the gates and then played a phenomenal match. They've gone the distance for 3 quarters, 80, 90%, what have you. And then it's fallen at the end, a little blip through the middle. But there's talent. There's no doubt about it. These kids can play.
It'll be an in-swinger. Lillard is there. Hope Gunn got his head to it and headed straight out of play, not able to test Panico. And don't forget, tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern time, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Birmingham Legion. Get to open up that new stadium for Birmingham Legion. 5 o'clock Eastern time, ESPN2. It'll be a good one in the Eastern Conference. I've got to say, it's nice to go back to 2 conferences after what has been the past couple years. Divisions, everybody plays each other twice, and that's it.
You're happy with the format?
I like the format. I know coaches have talked about that.
Yeah.
They say we want to go back to playing home and away, some cross-conference, and here we are again. Down the line, Pino will let this run, leaves Lillard in the dust. Pino looking infield, comes for Ingram, who moves it for Law, and it was Hope Gunn sliding in to clear it away. Loudoun scrambling defensively, but able to get it clear. And now it's Gadiri. Again, more time on the ball for Loudoun United. Sargis out for Jacob Green. Good play up ahead. This is Azad Liati. But it's Elliot Panico sliding in.
Pretty sure Hayden Sargis just checked all the boxes with that right foot switch. Outside of the boot, moving away from him, able to pick out the run on the far side, looking for the balance there. Loudoun United, everything for both of these teams has been on this near touchline. Indy 11 trying to work through the likes of Rebillon, Alexander McQueen. Loudoun United favoring Gadiri. The overlapping runs of Cudi Pietro coming out of the middle, right in front of us. No one's really found the far side of the field consistently just yet.
Marnie Smith showing some skill. Cudi Pietro trying to get it out wide for the oncoming run there of Jacob Green. Again, it's Panico to slide in. Gadiri. Now put out of play. Sammy Gadiri seemingly has been all up and down this left side for Loudoun, and an interesting kind of track for him. Started in 2019 under John Harkes with Greenville Triumph, and then last year actually made 10 appearances for Inter Miami in MLS. Spending some time with Fort Lauderdale as well, but he finds himself in an interesting position in his career, and a chance to reboot it here with Loudoun United.
Though I matriculated from the center part of the United States, Josh, in Omaha, Nebraska. I actually spent a lot of portion of my youth down where Sammy Gadiri's from, the Delray Beach, Boca Raton, Florida area. A good friend of mine still trains him in the off season. Constantly talks about his left foot and the confidence that this young man has. He's one of those types of players, though, that if he's not on the field, it's almost like that skill set goes dormant, right? You have to find a way, whether through training or some of the other appearances, that you're pushing him, because he's willing to accept that challenge, but you have to put it in front of him. You just let him train, that's not going to be good enough. Give him a few opportunities to step out there, show you what he's made of, and he will not let you down.
Foul there in the middle with Rebillon hitting the turf. Hackshaw finding McQueen. Deemed to be whistled for a foul here. It's Marnie Smith going down. 4 minutes to go until halftime. Here's Lillard. Back for Gadiri. Sargis. There he is on his left foot. It was a deflected ball out to that far side. Now a Powder feeling contact from behind, no whistle. Mark Lowry said coming into this game he wanted to see control and game management. You feel like we've seen enough of that from Indy?
Absolutely not. They're on the other side of it, actually. They're scrambling here. They're struggling with the press, the quick speed of Loudoun United transition.
Here's Marnie Smith in transition. Loudoun grabbed the first goal of 2022. It's 1-0 the home side.
Right on cue, when the second ball's quick in transition, make Indy 11 chase you. That's what goes on here for Loudoun United as they move quick right to left. Well done by Nicky Downs and Cuda Pietro to win the secondary balls here. Good couple touches, and you drag runners with you. You create your own space and then move everybody else on the outside. And there's Kimarni Smith. Everything is about the game in front of him. Doesn't have to create on his own. Just put it out on a platter and let him go chase it. Penico a bit shocked that he gets beat on near post here. Surprised this ball didn't come out wider probably, but a beautiful finish by Loudoun United, Kimarni Smith, and the transitions that have been in this first half.
The 4th overall pick in the 2021 MLS Super Draft out of Clemson, grew up in Nottingham, England. He has the first goal of 2022 in the USL Championship.
In the 43rd minute by number 17, Kimarni Smith.
So a good start here for Loudoun United. You just felt like that goal had been coming. They had been putting good pressure on that Indy 11 back line, and now again, more space in the middle. There's Ted Cuda Pietro. He's playing with all sorts of confidence. He takes some punishment there in the middle, but here's Kimarni Smith again. Cuda Pietro, he's just playing with him. Cochran up forward aerially. Second ball picked up by Gamble.
The fourth official has indicated
as we get into 1 minute of additional time at the end of this first half.
I repeat, 1 minute of added time.
I'm sure Ryan Martin has to be very pleased about how his team has played. A lot of possession, a lot of good build-up, and this man has had a lot to do with it. Cuda Pietro gonna pick out the cross. Now a chance for Indy to look upfield. It's Ingram leading the break. Sliding that ahead and just behind Eris Briggs. Rebellon went to ground. Is he going to be whistled? He will. It'll be a free kick going Loudoun's way. What have you made of this first half?
I told you coming in that Loudoun United, in order to have success, Josh, they had to push the pace to this game and make Indy 11 chase. They've done that and more in the opening 45 minutes. Finally, in the last 5, creating opportunities, though, because they didn't have a lot to show in really the opening 35 or 40. Penico had the 1 shot against him. Other than that, just a lot of stuff down in the middle and the outsides, long balls hit with hope. That all changes in the 43rd minute with Cuda Pietro. You find your playmaker, you get those transitional moments, and you go quickly. Indy 11 is shook right now. It's the first game of the season. They haven't been together a lot. They haven't been on the ball a lot. But for me, it comes down to the accuracy or inaccuracy for Indy 11. This is not what Mark Lowry is used to. He's going to want his guys to be more efficient because that's where his teams are successful. Ryan Martin's got to be very happy heading into the dressing room.
Well, it's the Clemson Tiger, Kimarni Smith, who was the first goal of the USL Championship season. We're off and running in 2022. It's cold, it's windy, but Loudoun, they have a 1-0 lead over Mark Lowry's Indy 11. Stay with us. It's Loudoun 1, Indy 11 0.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
I didn't expect to stop my career in the end of the last year. You know, I had something with my ankle. I had a surgery, and the things came like that. You know, I talked with Hernan and Nico first. They wanted me in the staff with the first team, but because of the budget, you know, they had already one few assistant coach with the first team, so they didn't have a space for me, and the club wanted to keep me in the organization. So I was like, maybe it's the time to do it, and they offered me this post with London, which is great for me because I'm doing the transition with the connection, with the first team and London, and also the London with the academy, and I'm the right person to do this connection because I was player with the first team, and I also trained the academy when I played soccer. So it's a perfect role for me, and you know, I'm very excited about this year.
Tonight's player spotlight is Skage Simonson, new to the team. Skage joins Loudoun after being selected by DC United in the 3rd round of the MLS Super Draft out of SMU, AAC first team in 2021. His favorite food is sushi, and he's a fan of Alicia Keys. So there you go for Skage Simonson out of Norway. It is halftime here from Segra Field. 1-0 to the home side, Loudoun United. An interesting first 45 minutes. But now at halftime, the first game of 2022, a chance to look back at 2021 with our award winners. And of course, Neil Collins, the Eastern Conference champion, Tampa Bay Rowdies Coach of the Year.
Just as he's done every single year since taking over as the interim since 2018, sets the bar high once again, not just for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but the entire USL Championship. Well-deserved. Guess what? They swept the categories, basically. Evan Laurel, Goalkeeper of the Year. Forrest Lasso threw his name in the mix, gets Defender of the Year. Evan Laurel set the single season record, 891 minutes. Guess what? That's a North American record. Not been done since the Houston Dynamo of 2008. And Josh, I thought he was going to break it. I thought Haji Berry was going to do it. 25 goals, ties Cameron Lancaster since 2018. Hey, why not? Let's give him the MVP too.
And then El Paso Locomotive, first in the Mountain Division, though they were upset by the Oakland Roots in the first round of the playoffs. And there he is, Mark Lowry. He's not, I guess, the conductor of the train anymore.
They were actually the leader in the clubhouse. Everybody thought they were going to get the #1 overall, stumbled down the stretch, and then stumbled in the first round. Biggest upset ever? Maybe. Phoenix Rising. They get the #1 in the Pacific, #1 in the West. They go down as well to RGV. And then we jump to the Eastern Conference, right? Because that's what it was all about. The East reigns supreme. That's where the champion's going to be. Loose City, #1 in the Central Division. They got 2 stars on the top of their crest. Would they add a 3rd? I'll tell you what. They looked good to do it. Up 2-0 on the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who were the #1 overall seed in the Atlantic Division. Guess what? Tampa Bay Rowdies come storming back. Lucky M. Casana, 83rd minute, 96th minute. Dos Santos, that's your Eastern Conference champ. That's your winner, right? Wrong. Orange County, #2 in the Pacific. Everybody slept on them. And why would you? You shouldn't. Seasoned pros, youngsters, they had it all. Damas, Roscoe. In the middle, Evan Calvillo, they had everything, and what most importantly, they had belief. Out 3-0 at halftime, never look back. 2021 USL Championship winners.
A season to remember in 2021, and we're hoping for an exciting year here in 2022. We're off to a good start. It's Loudoun United 1, it's Indy 11-0. The conditions, no doubt, playing a part here tonight. Stay with us.
Birmingham, and all the goal scorers getting in on the action today. Legion FC, how about that?
Sebastian Dogar from distance, and he drills it! Wow! What a goal!
those topics frequently. I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop
you know
it.
today we're gonna go
Yo,
topics.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Birmingham. And all the goal scorers getting in on the action today. Legion FC, how about that?
Sebastian Doggart from distance, and he drills it! Wow! What a goal!
It is halftime from a cold and snowy Leesburg, Virginia, 1-0 to Loudoun United at halftime. As we get you set for this USL Championship season, news and notes from around the league. 34 games as we get into that traditional two-conference alignment. Detroit City, Monterey Bay FC, they will make their USL Championship debuts tonight. Do either of them get a win?
No. Unfortunately, no. Talented coaches, talented rosters, great players, but Detroit City, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at San Antonio. A lot of people look at them as one of the favorites. And then Monterey Bay against another one of the favorites, perennial powerhouse Phoenix Rising. Let's go 0-0 points for those two guys. Sorry.
Bummer. Tomorrow, Birmingham Legion, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Protective Stadium in Birmingham. That'll be a good one. 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Again, how this season is going to look. 27 teams over 2 conferences, 34 games, top 7 teams in each conference are in that playoff berth. The number 1 seed gets the bye to the conference semifinals, so a lot on that top seed going into the playoffs.
I'm here for it, and everybody wants the number 1 seed overall. The only argument I would make here is I would like to see a home and home between the interconference. Right? So if Phoenix Rising and Louisville City are going to play each other, they are, spoiler, national television, ESPN2, I would like to see them play in both Phoenix and in Louisville. The big takeaway from that, Josh, is going to be if you do that, you remove games more on the grand scheme of things from the interconference, because if they play home and home, that's 2 instead of 1, so you start to pull from everywhere else. So it's okay, they can do a home and home, but then you're not seeing as many opponents from the Eastern Conference. A little bit of tit for tat. That's my own personal wish list. Of course, those wishes never get granted, so everybody else is happy.
2 instead of 1. I see you've been working on your math here.
Bingo.
Tonight's schedule, what is to come? Charleston, Tulsa, Miami, New York Red Bulls kicking off just about now. What are you looking at tonight?
I look at the fact that there's not really parity. There's ideas from all over the place, right? FC Tulsa, they've added extra pieces. They feel like they could be a real contender, but they're at Charleston Battery, who's revamped. What does Miami FC look like under Anthony Pulis? There's new blood in Red Bull 2 with Gary Lewis. I like that 8 o'clock game between Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC and the reigning champs Orange County SC. They've got a big test on the road against what a lot of people say, myself included, Colorado Springs. They're going to be a playoff contender for sure.
It's going to be cold. It's at altitude. Tough one for the defending champs. Second half from Virginia coming up next.
We live in the area where there is a lot of players, a lot of kids who want to play. So we are lucky because we are here in DC. Washington DC is huge, and all the neighborhood around is a huge, or I will say, bucket where you can find players. Now we still need to work on them and try to improve the talent, you know. And the academy did well since now, I will say, maybe 10 years. We have a lot of good players who signed in Europe, lot of players who signed with the first team. So I think the way we treat the young player is very good. It's very good, yeah. And we try to do our best to be the next step for the academy player. So academy, London, and then the first team. And I think the academy, being in the academy and step with London is already a huge step. So we want to be the middle part of the pathway, I will say.
Gearing up for the second half, these players, these coaches trying to stay warm on a cold night in Leesburg, Virginia. 1-0 to Loudoun United as we look back at that first half with our halftime highlights and a lot of those runs out of the midfield. Ted Pietro seemingly starting everything for Loudoun.
Very regular with the names that you're going to hear. Pietro, Sami Khediri, Laddie up front. You would also get Kemarni Smith add into the mix. But there was a real theme here in the first half, Josh, and it was the left side. That left side, strong side mentality. Build from the left, from the back, move forward quickly. We saw that regular in the opening 45 minutes, working outside. And I love the freedom that Ryan Martin gives Pietro because he's really tasked with this attacking midfielder type role. But it can be paired next to another midfielder over his right shoulder. He actually started off on the right-hand side, then he moves into the 10 spot. With that freedom comes responsibility behind defensively. They were able to lock that up, but it all led to this beautiful moment. He's on the right side, 1, 2, 3 different players. But what do you want to watch on the bottom of your screen? Watch the delayed run from Kemarni Smith. If he enters that zone too early, he has nothing to step into. Instead, it's delayed. He holds up the outside back. He holds the center back with him, explodes into the final third, picks out the near post, and beats a very talented goalkeeper. And Elliot Panico probably got caught cheating a little bit there, trying to go to the back post. Good finish by Loudoun United, 1-0 and well-deserved.
And a look at the halftime stats, and the possession number jumps off the screen just based on what we were talking about with Mark Lowry's teams love to possess the ball.
Wouldn't be surprised if Loudoun had the brunt of the possession. I'm shocked that it's this far apart. But I told you, the bigger number for me was the consistency or lack of on the ball for Indy 11 in the first half. Mark Lowry's teams want to bounce on it. They want to push you into uncomfortable spots. That rarely happened in the first half. That would be a topic of conversation at the dressing room in halftime. The other thing, Josh, they have the win now. They have the win at their backs and the opportunity to make Loudoun United chase much more than we saw in the first half of play.
So here we go. Second half of action is underway with Devin Kerr. I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks for joining us tonight. ESPN Plus, the curtain raiser of this 2022 USL Championship season. And this has been a great start to this one. Hoping for more goals in this second half. And we'll see if Indy 11 can get things going. We talked about it a lot in the first half, but we said that Mark Lowry was looking for control and game management, and right as we brought that up, Loudoun scored a goal. So haven't necessarily seen that tonight for Indy 11, and things no doubt can change in this second half.
Yes, yes, go Greenies! Good, Sammy! Up! Yes, it's on! Go! Go!
Yeah, no halftime.
Yes, it's on!
No subs as we get this second half underway. Here's Jacob Green. He's brought down by Nicky Law. It'll slow things down. Notice both outside backs have their first name on the back of their jerseys.
There you go. That wasn't the observation that I was making. I was actually going to say that Jacob Green and Rio Hope going really good defensively in the first half on that far side. And you and I, Josh, were chatting at halftime talking about to what we thought was very interesting, that everything was played in front of us, right? Nothing on the far side of the field. Indy pushed through the right. Loudoun United pushed through the left. You wonder if that rings true here, because of the elements in the second half and what they experienced in the first, and the coaches being right here. Better direction, of course, a bit easier, if you will. Not to say it's easy, but playing in weather like this, it's difficult, man. Every single touch sort of reverberates through the body. It stings. You never want to stop running. You stop for 2 seconds, your body gets cold. The sweat starts to give you chills. Just poetry in motion, constantly pushing yourself at every level you can.
Grant Lillard's college assistant coach, Kevin Robeson, called this run-all-day weather.
Yeah, okay. Maybe for the boys up there that are used to it.
Well, sure, but you got to keep running, stay warm. You don't get tired, I guess, as quickly as if you were maybe when he was playing for Inter Miami in those summer training sessions. I'm sure were not easy.
That's the other thing as well is, remember, Mark Lowry, through his coaching tenure, he hasn't really experienced this weather on a regular basis either. It's something that they're going to have to get used to. You know, academy coach at Wolverhampton overseas. Jacksonville a few seasons, mentioned El Paso Locomotive since 2019. Heat a little different than the snow, isn't it?
Well, just a little bit. Although in Indiana it can be 70 one day and the next day it could be in the 30s, so you never really know.
I will say that this Loudoun United squad, I understand that it's the first game of the year and we've only seen one half plus a few minutes here in the second. Their disposition seems more comfortable on the ball, doesn't it, than what we've seen in previous seasons. A long way to go for sure, but a great testament to the hard work that's put in by these players, the coaching staff, leading to Ryan Martin at the charge of all of this. Good movement in and out of spaces. No panic buttons for the most part. When things get locked down, they step on it, start to push another direction. Really well done so far.
A little bit more MLS pedigree on this Loudoun United team this season as Downs puts this out of play. Lillard, of course, spending some time in MLS. Rio Hope Gunn, drafted by Orlando. Jacob Green, homegrown with DC. It just seems like all throughout this lineup there is kind of that next level experience.
Still very young though,
of course.
And a lot of those guys, don't be surprised if as this season goes on, some of those names start to disappear. That's a good thing for Loudoun United, but it's also going to hurt them. You know, we had a chat during intermission that, hey, Cudi Pietro lit it up in the first half. That's probably going to continue in the second. But they may not see him for very long. Even Ryan Martin admitted that. He said, you know what, I'm glad to have him first game of the year, but the amount of talent that a lot of these young men possess, it's not going to go unnoticed. They'll quickly move through the ranks.
And he was also saying, Ryan Martin, that he wants to see a goalkeeper move to the next level. They've had somebody at every other position except for goalkeeper. So will it be Trey Muse when he comes back? Will it be a Joe Rice when he is back from his red card suspension? Luis Zamudio getting the start tonight.
People forget that Luis Zamudio, and I understand that it's a little bit further down, but a couple of years ago, for a very good Club America team, he was the third. He was one of the heir apparents behind Memo Ochoa in goal for Club America, arguably one of the best, if not the best team in Liga MX. And that's only 3 seasons removed, right? Now, he hasn't got a lot of reps either. North Texas, Fort Lauderdale, of course, with the Inter Miami organization. Got loaned to Miami FC under Paul Dalglish, but never saw the field. But a tremendous amount of talent for him as well.
He said that would be kind of the, I don't even know how you put it, but it's nice to see.
The coup de grace.
Yeah, there you go.
The cherry on top.
Yeah, cherry on top. To have somebody from every position kind of move to that top level. And so far, a clean sheet through 50 minutes. Here's Downs. More time on the ball here for Loudoun United. Cudi Pietro. See all the white jerseys converge quickly. Eris Briggs wins it. Immediately given right back. Here's Gadiri. And again, Loudoun using that left side. Hopkins sliding this forward. It's Azad Liadi. Felt some pressure from Jerome. It was the last touch off the Indy 11 center back. It will be a corner kick. As you mentioned, when you get hit down in this type of temperature, it'll sting for a minute.
This is what happens, by the way, when you've got someone with the experience level of Michek Jerome. Watch him time this. Good job. Just a little bit of pressure, right? Is there contact? A tiny touch, but nothing that warrants the referee pointing to the spot. Center back slides over, pushes him into an uncomfortable position, They're able to get a corner out of it, but well done on the back shoulder pressure from Jerome.
Another corner kick for Loudoun, 8 minutes into this second half. It'll be an in-swinger. Falls for Kudipietro again. Trying to get to the outside. Now Kudipietro coming infield. He's knocked away by Law. And Loudoun again can take more time on the ball. Gadiri. Marnie Smith, positive touch upfield. He continues on. Options await in the middle. This cut back towards the penalty spot. No red jersey was crashing in. And now Indy trying to get out and run. Here's Briggs. He's heavy off his chest and nothing doing. I mentioned in the first half this Indy team without Manuel Arteaga, along with Ayoze, two big pieces that will contribute this season. Where do they turn to tonight when both those players are out of the lineup, not on the bench? Space to work for Gadiri, slides it in, Kudipietro. Back for Downs, and blocked down, Cochran.
Fans, last call for alcohol sales.
And it's Ingram who is brought down. It's a free kick.
75th minute.
Law closed down. Kudipietro nearly got there. Slid ahead for Nicky Law. There's Sargis. Unable to clear this now. An outlet with Green. Chances have really been few and far between in this game. Just 4 touches in the opposition box for Indy 11, 11 for Loudoun United. If that tells you anything about how this game has gone. And not a whole lot of shots either way. Good skill in the middle by Hackshaw. That last touch a little bit heavy. gets it right back, and now room on the far side for McQueen. I wonder when either coach turns to their bench. Cross coming in, bouncing through. Nicky Law actually did keep that alive for Indy. Now Noah Powder. Cross blocked down by Kudapietro. Gamble just play this down the line and into space. Lillard showing his pace and will get there. Corner kick taken short by Loudoun. Kudapietro punched away by Panico, but not completely out. Maybe a chance to counter, but closed down by Downs.
And speed on the outside right now, as it has been really the entire game, troubling for Indy 11. You talk about the changes. It's very difficult for them to get on the ball at all on the exterior, because when they do start to move forward, neither Alexander McQueen nor Noah Powder really have a presence moving up top. So defensively, Nicky Law, Brian Rebillon, they're pulled to the inside. As they start to pull out, they don't have the help when they start to transition, go in the other direction. The speed is not going to be there for Nicky Law, with all due respect, because of who he's matched up against. You know, that's simple math. Nicky Law moving on the left-hand side against someone like Jacob Green. Rio Hopegun has it too. And then any of the midfielders, that's quick. So you would expect the changes coming from Indy 11 and Mark Lowry to give you the versatility to start to move towards the outside. I see the shape changing when they do make the changes, or at least give you the opportunity. They've sat in the diamond most of the game. Single pivot with Neviel Hackshaw. You bring someone on like an Aguilera, like a Sam Brown, who would be my choice, because Sam Brown gives you the look as an 8 with two guys next to each other. He can also run by his lonesome moving forward, and then you can push someone like a Feldberg to the outside, flatten out the midfield 3. That gives you more options moving forward. More importantly, when they drop back here, Josh, it's going to be easier for them defensively. They're not going to have to chase as much as they're doing right now.
Here's Gadiri for Loudoun. And now Smith. These last few minutes a little bit better from Indy 11, maybe sensing those changes. Ingram, the Indianapolis native. Good skill shown by Kudapietro. He's taken it to a whole nother level this evening. Foul leaving Gadiri on the turf. And two subs coming on. It will be Jonas Fjellberg along with Sam Brown coming on, and replacing Justin Ingram and Brian Rebillon, the first two subs of the evening. There'll also be a Loudoun substitution, and it's Jackson Hopkins coming on. That's the last we'll see of Ted Kudapietro. These substitutions presented by Segra. A really positive hour for Kudapietro.
Beautiful, beautiful play from the young man who was rewarded with his efforts against Loudoun United, or excuse me, for Loudoun United over the past couple of seasons. DC United homegrown at the end of last year, and now that's what you should expect to see from Indy 11 now, with the addition of Feldberg and Sam Brown into the equation. Feldberg can now move to the outside quite easily. Nicky Law can move into the 10. Sam Brown can drop down underneath. Again, you can still have Hackshaw by his lonesome, but now this gives you different looks if you're Mark Lowry to try and test the opposition. We really haven't seen them chase whatsoever, Loudoun United, into their own half. Talked about that high line, haven't seen that either. Instead, they've been doing the wandering, chasing all the boys in the red jerseys.
Jacob Green, who was given that yellow card. Well, that lone sub for Loudoun United is Jackson Hopkins, the 17-year-old. Second season, scored 2 goals with Loudoun last year.
Indy 11 substitution. Now in the game, midfielder number 6, Sam Brown. And midfielder number 10, Jonas Fjellberg. They replace Justin Ingram and Brian Rivione. All substitutions are sponsored by Segra.
Here's Sargis. We passed the hour mark from a cold Leesburg, Virginia. Wind chill in the single digits tonight. Oh, a giveaway. It's Nicky Law looking to cut this back. Fjellberg, it's cleared away. Sargis off the line. That would have been one of his first touches of the season. They couldn't get it to go. That's when we talk about putting a full 90 minutes together for Loudoun, those lapses in judgment. Kadiri looking to get this clear. And eventually does. Gamble ahead for Hopkins. And Cochran sliding in, puts it out. Lowry trying to keep it upbeat in that technical area. Another flag up for offside. Let's see when Indy can get going here. About 25 minutes to go, chasing a goal. A Loudoun team that conceded some of the most goals in the entire USL Championship last year. It was them in Las Vegas that were going neck and neck for most goals conceded.
It's not usually something you want to brag about, is it?
No, it is not. Although they did score a fair amount of goals themselves. A lot of high-scoring games. That sends Downs to the turf.
And the repress by Indy 11 produces quick little turnover coming here. High line for the boys in the white jerseys. Nice little chase by Pino, one of the new additions. Recipient of the turnover by Lillard. Really unfortunate here for Fjellberg. Doesn't catch it clean, still puts it in the bottom corner. And again, the recovery by Loudoun United. It's been spectacular tonight because even when it has had a mental lapse or you've seen a player get beaten, Josh, everybody in a red jersey is backtracking and helping out their brothers next to him and been able to keep the ball out of the back of the net.
A really impressive performance from Loudoun United. Here's Hopkins, runners up ahead, Smith and Liotti. Hopkins will go himself. He drags the shot wide. Liotti and Smith were up ahead, but Hopkins went all alone.
A big takeaway I get out of these young men, whether it's a full Loudoun player, a DC United player who's been lent down, or one of the academy guys like Jackson Hopkins, forward-thinking philosophy, right? There's a mental attitude that you've got here, that quick look up and can we go the other direction as fast as possible. That's a young man in Jackson Hopkins who has made his living so far at the ripe old age of 17 in that 10-type role, moving into the striker position. He's actually currently slated to join George Gelnevach at University of Virginia this fall, and for good reason. Beautiful mentality of pulling that ball out of midair right off his chest and going the other direction quickly.
Hopkins maybe got a taste of what Virginia could look like in their preseason friendly.
Look at him already, too. On that left shoulder right now of A.J. Cochran. Left-sided center back for Indy 11. Hopkins came in, paired next to Nicky Downs. What you're seeing more now is Hopkins over the past 5 minutes, really since he's come on, he's now the one stretching the game in the midfield. It's not Kuda Pietro, of course, because he's gone off, but Michael Gamble dropping back a bit more. Tit for tat between Gamble and Downs, helping out defensively.
Trying to play that through the middle. It was Lillard making the run. Cochran able to head it away. The whistle will stop play, pushing and shoving. Referee John Mato stepping in right away. Gamble and Powder exchanging post-game plans.
Yeah, boy meets world right here. Neviel Hackshaw real close to trying to throw a punch, push him back, pulls right off the neck area of Jackson Hopkins. Good on Hopkins to walk away. Michael Gamble not willing to let his teammate go unnoticed in this situation. Sticking up here a little bit, referee stepping in. Noah Powder having some words. I never got my lip reading degree, Josh, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't anything pleasant.
Didn't look like it. Sub for Loudoun United, and it will be Tyler Freeman, the 19-year-old. He will come on and replace Azad Liadi. It's a Segra substitution. Liadi's Loudoun debut goes about 68 minutes, and it's Tyler Freeman who comes on, spending the last few years in the Sporting Kansas City setup. 6 goals over 35 total appearances with Sporting Kansas City too, so some USL championship experience. It's interesting where some of those SKC2 products have wound up. Mushagalusa and Wilson Harris with Louisville. And now, of course, you see Tyler Freeman here. Some others sprinkled throughout the USL Championship as well. Fjellberg pulled down by Hope Gund. And that'll be a yellow card quick onto the scene from the referee.
Pretty quiet night so far for the New York native, come over from Orlando City. Almost 100% on the ball when distributing, coming in the other direction, gets turned around a little bit here, plays the wrong angle. You don't often see that from Rio Hopegun. Good recovery though, and if you are gonna make contact, you don't want it to be this close to goal, but at least it's a bit closer to the sideline because that ball was quickly coming to the interior.
So a set piece opportunity with 20 minutes to go for Indy 11, looking to find some way back into this game. Nicky Law, Noah Powder stand around it. Law curls it in. Segra Field, Leesburg, Virginia. With Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern. Looking to find a result here tonight, both these teams, and so far so good for Loudoun United. Kamarni Smith in the 43rd minute. This is, of course, a game being played in very cold temperatures. You can see the snow around the field as it came down earlier today in the area. There's no doubt the conditions have affected play tonight and played a big factor. There have been not a whole lot of chances on goal tonight for either team. Some of these Indy subs trying to change that, but nothing's really transpired thus far. Touched in field, quick passing, it's Hopkins. Trying to hold play up now. There was a foul before he made that pass. Here's Sargis. Freeman putting pressure on McQueen, who just has to put this out of play. McQueen, his first season in the United States. He's being tested. Another chance for Loudoun, and Hopkins puts it over the bar. It wouldn't have counted. The flag was up for offside. You'd still like him to put that away from that sort of distance.
Whether you're Ryan Martin or Galnavac at UVA, you're asking him to stick this on the 8x8. Quick little restart on the far side. Check the touches too. Love back to play by Hopkins, then quickly drops that left shoulder, comes back to the inside. The familiarity you see out of some of the play coming out of the attacking playmakers from Loudoun United is scary. Kudu Pietro, we've seen it a few times from Gadiri. Hopkins as well. Head up, quick turns, tiny touches, but the transitional movements have been absolutely brilliant. I haven't seen anything this consistent out at Loudoun United in the entire time that this team has been in the USL Championship.
Really impressive performance tonight, and against a team that is, of course, still trying to come together. So many new pieces to this team. 8 of the 11 starters were making their Indy debut. First game for Mark Lowry. I'm sure plenty to work on in training in the coming days and months. Still a chance to salvage something here tonight. Fjellberg moves it across for Law. Chance to get a cross in towards Zamudio. No whistle with the player going down right in the 6-yard box. It's a corner kick for an Indy 11. Pino trying to plead his case. Again, it's Nicky Law who will send in this corner kick. Bouncing through, sitting there, and it's saved by Zamudio. That ball had some interesting English on it as it went towards goal. Looked like Cochran got the final shot.
The traffic in front of him is what makes this very difficult for the goalkeeper. Watch all the bodies as it rotates back out past the penalty mark. Benefactor of that quality bounce to the side, trying to pick out the bottom corner. Textbook save for the Las Vegas native. How about the ball whip back in, by the way? It's the first time that we've seen that side-to-side movement from Indy 11 with bodies in the box when it's actually put into the mixer. Hayden Sargis might have got away with a bit of contact, but the arm was not away from the body. It allowed him to play on. Those are the moments you want to see, though, if you're Ryan Martin. We addressed what it looked like for someone. I mean, this kid was born in 2002. May 2nd, 2002. I was already in training camp in college. I mean, to give that a little bit of perspective, 19 years of age, and yet all night long, with everything that Indy 11 so far have brought to the table, balls on his right foot, positioning, the one-on-one challenges, bodies in the box, he's been able to answer everything so far.
Some space for Kamarni Smith to stretch his legs. For Downs. And now they'll hold play up, take some more time on the ball. Game at that very interesting place for Loudoun, where of course want to play keep away, but you don't want to totally back off what you've been doing for the previous 75 minutes. It's been working. Space in the middle. Gadiri able to drive forward. Finds his outside back counterpart. Now Gadiri gets it back. Looking for options. Lillard steps forward. Trying to cut in field. It was Freeman taking off the ball. Oh, penalty! The referee points to the spot. A big decision from the referee, and Loudoun will have a spot kick.
It's good interchange on the far side. There is an arm that comes out. It looked to be shoulder to shoulder with an extension. When you slow it down, is he behind the player? That's the key question as they move through here. Alexander McQueen gets turned around, cannot let this ball come inside. It's right there. Tell you what, I have a very difficult time with this decision. The initial contact that's made is a shoulder to shoulder from Sam Brown. Yeah, the arm moves away from the body at the end of it, but Josh, if you're with me on this, he's in a positive position to start this tackle, is he not?
I completely agree. I think it's just shoulder to shoulder, and that's why I sounded a little bit surprised.
The one thing you have to say, which is what gets players in troubles in these situations, it's the angle that the referee has to give him a benefit of doubt. So he's behind him. When the move comes to the inside here, it's a great move inside of McQueen. The arm comes away from the body. There is contact. Now, the contact's initiated ahead of time, but if the referee's on the wrong side of that, he can't see it. All he sees is that outstretched arm.
It's the youngster, 17-year-old Jackson Hopkins. It's saved by Panico. Loudoun still an opportunity, puts it back in the middle. Hopkins trying to get this out. Green curls it back in the middle, still not gone. Hopkins wide. And if you're Indy 11, I think you're saying ball don't lie.
Go back to the penalty, back to the inside. He's almost moving away from it. I still have no issue. You can understand why, though, with the arm away from Sam Brown. Youngster Jackson Hopkins steps up. Elliot Panico, seasoned vet right there. Everything that he brought to the table for Austin Bold last year, save after save. That one from 12 yards out. And how about the second return on the ball back in, Loudoun United? Panico's got it covered in the bottom corner as well.
That's why he was one of the top goalkeepers in the USL last year. Eventually the goalkeeper of the year went to Evan Loro. But Elliot Panico, I'm sure, right up there in the voting. And Mark Lowry spotted him and said, that's who I want to be my goalkeeper, and he went out and got him. So maybe that can give Indy a little bit of a jolt into the final 10 minutes of play. Over the top, Camarney Smith, this right in the path of Hopkins. And Panico closed down the space quickly. Fjellberg, good skill. Plucking that right out of the air, and now plays it down the line for Pino. He will not get there. It's Sargis first. The wind still whipping here at Segra Field. On the turn, it's Freeman. He's fouled by McQueen. Hopkins trying to win the second ball and does. Fjellberg. It's been a bright spot since coming on, but still not a whole lot going for it as Hackshaw won the ball going to ground. Mark Lowry changing the formation here.
This could be what we talked about earlier, pulling Sam Brown down underneath next to Hackshaw. Bring Pino to the outside. Fjellberg can slide in. Nicky Lawkin plays a false 9 up top. Fjellberg can do the same. One of the biggest talking points for this Indy 11 squad coming in is the versatility of all their players. It starts on the back line and continues to work forward. A group that can easily play in a 3, play in a 4, both outside backs, accustomed to playing high lines, moving into advanced roles. Your midfielders comfortable on the ball, yet willing to interchange at a high pace going the other direction. And then all the boys on the front line, Fjellberg, Nicky Law, Eris Briggs, Pino at this point in time can go bag you some goals if need be as well.
Played into space. It was Pino who was pulled back, and a yellow card will go to Grant Lillard.
Card issued to Loudoun United in the 84th minute to number 15.
There's something still in this for Indy 11. Nicky Law. Now Sam Brown.
There's your switch, by the way. It looks like he's gone to 3. Add an extra attacker up into the mix. That's the benefactor of having someone with the brain of Mark Lowry and having guys like Neviel Hackshaw, who just played 83 straight minutes in the center of the park. All of a sudden, he's just starting outside back. Noah Powder moves into the wingback spot. 5 into the midfield. Love the change. Just a little surprised that it didn't happen sooner, given the way that the match has gone.
Fjellberg trying to play it through the middle. Hope Gunn there to snuff it out for Loudoun. The distribution just too strong. Lillard felt contact from Briggs and goes down. Briggs a big target up top. Out of Georgia State, spent last year with Real Monarchs, 19 appearances, 3 goals. Draft pick from Real Salt Lake. Green gets it right back. Smith was asking for the return. It was too far out in front, but it's Downs. And now Gadiri. Time running thin on Indy 11. Looked like there was contact behind the play, leaving Sargis on the floor. Yellow card given to Eris Briggs.
Yellow card issued to Indy 11 in the 87th minute to number 13, Aries Briggs.
The expected goals in this game pretty much tells the story. 1.93 for Loudoun, 0.22 for Indy 11. Maybe trying to tee one up from distance, and it's just rolling out of play.
This is one, Josh, where even though it's nice to have the metrics and you can sort of run down the list and go, okay, that makes sense, This is an eye test game where you can just sit back and watch and go, okay, I understand who's the better team, where they've been great at. And don't sell yourself short if you're a Loudoun fan. They have been great in a lot of areas tonight. Again, the takeaway, still time left, and it's the first game of the year.
Freeman cutting in field. Will send the cross into the back stick, and Green couldn't get there. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2022, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of the USL Championship action on ESPN+, the home to the USL, MLS, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Ahead for Green. And now the goal scorer, Smith, under 2 minutes to play. And that go off of last. Looks like they're pointing for a corner kick. Hackshaw does not like that decision. And Loudoun, as you could expect, taking its time here.
Can you exhibit some of that patience that's been lacking over the past couple of seasons? Because to the talking points given forth before, 89th minute, they've done everything right. Game's not over, though, and we've seen this in years past where they've been the benefactor. Watch the extracurriculars on the backside.
And that was a two-for there by Alex McQueen. And that'll be a red card. McQueen is off. In his first league game in the United States after coming over with a spell in the National League in England. He will be sent off tonight.
He gets himself in trouble twice here. There's the initial challenge right in front of the linesman. And then watch the reach out here in frustration on the backside. There's the foul. And if you're Jacob Green, just clouded the vision is by Ryan Martin in front of us. Had a better angle the time before. Here you go. Watch the leg right there. Just the kick out. Can't get away with that in general, yet alone the fact that it's right in front of the AR. Your head referee there to see it as well. Late in the game, to be fair, McQueen's also gotten himself in trouble numerous times here in the second half. And unfortunately for him, not only is it 1-0, he's gonna hit the showers a few minutes earlier than his compatriots.
Free kick in that corner. So we're getting 4 minutes of additional time at the end of this second half. And wrapping up what looks to be a pretty lackluster night so far for Indy 11. I'll just play this short. Rolled in for Panico. Panico directing traffic here with 3 minutes to go. Gamble moves it out wide. Long over the top for Kamarni Smith. Can he grab a brace? Smith. Jerome coming back defensively. And a couple of substitutions. Raul Aguilera alongside Palmer Alt coming on.
Raul Aguilera.
Law will be coming off. These are Segra substitutions. Homer Alt scored in that USL Academy final for Indy 11, which they won over Queensboro back in December. There were some really good goals scored in that game by Indy 11. About 90 seconds to go. Loudoun trying to close out an opening day victory. Flicked along, Alt will keep it moving. Only as far as Luis Zamudio. Here's Gamble, and you can hear the instructions going into the corner. Downs will win it. Is there one last chance for Indy 11? They can't get a touch of the ball right now. Panico, who kept his team in this game with that penalty kick save. .30 seconds to go, and Loudoun still on the ball. And this keep away at the moment from Indy 11. Down the line for Smith. If you go back to last season, Indy ended the season with just one win in its final 12. Loudoun ended the game on a 6-game losing streak. Looks like a yellow card will be issued here. And going to Kamarni Smith. All about John Motto, and he has his watch buzz to see this game to a close. Here's Hackshaw. Time for one more opportunity. It's cut out by Green. Now Gamble. Flicked along, it's Tyler Freeman. He squares it, and it's deflected away. We still play on well past the minimum of 4 minutes. And there's the final whistle. It's an opening day victory for Loudoun United. 1-0 winners over Indy 11. That is one to celebrate for the entire squad. Marnie Smith gets the first goal of the USL Championship season, and it is the only goal they would need to capture all 3 points.
This is going to be glory from start to finish for Ryan Martin, Loudoun United, and anybody who wants to help sing the praise of the beautiful play we saw tonight from the boys wearing the red jerseys. Anyone that stepped onto the pitch or was able to assist from the sideline, given the elements and everything put forth, it was a magnificent performance for the home squad. Not the start that Mark Lowry and Indy 11 are going to want, but again, as much praise as we can give Loudoun, it's just one, and as much fault as Indy 11 are going to feel that they were at tonight, it is only one. 33 more to go.
Time to look at tonight's save of the game, brought to you by Segra, and it's really the only time Loudoun United got itself into trouble, but Hayden Sargis able to bail him out.
It just stepped on. It's a poor giveaway by Grant Lillard on the left side. Zamudio, not the greatest of passes, catches him off and he can't get to it. The ball played back across, beautiful by Nicky Law. Fjellberg had just stepped on and that bottom corner picked out, but guess who? The man who was great all night long, Hayden Sargis.
Time to look at our full-time highlights. This was the man that really got it going for Loudoun. Ted Cudipietro, he gets the assist on Kamarni Smith's goal.
If you don't know the name yet, learn it, live it, and love it. DC United homegrown at the end of 2021 will be a part of their plans in 2022. Just 20 years of age, Cudipietro was a menace, but that entire left-hand side was problematic all night long. Good little cut back inside, penalty given, don't agree, still work to be done. Hopkins can't close it off. Great save by Panico in the bottom corner.
He goes down to his bottom right to keep it out. A tough one there for Jackson Hopkins to miss, and then Indy would go down to 10 men late on with Alex McQueen. He gets sent off.
It was his 5th infraction of the second half, 7th of the game. As we go back and look at the stats, frustration on the reach out. It was already a foul. Gets thrown out, early shower, and just ridiculous numbers being put up tonight by Loudoun United. They had better possession. They were more accurate, created more chances. Josh, they were more fun to watch. They were the better team. Hats off to them in 3 points.
100%. Well, that'll do it for the first game of the season. Still plenty more action across the USL Championship tonight on ESPN+. But here from Leesburg and Loudoun County, it was Loudoun United taking the 1-0 victory over Indy 11. For our entire crew, Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long, where Loudoun United is victorious.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.